YouTube channel. Today I'll be illustrating on how to make a pleated skirt, otherwise known as this school uniform skirt. Some churches use it as well. You can have a look at it, and it's going to be a three pleated skirt, as you've seen, with the band and then the hook by the sides, the zipper too by the sides. Before we start, please, I'm going to thank you very much for your love and your support. Please don't fail to subscribe, and also don't fail to keep supporting, please, and click on the notification button for more updates. Before we start, I'm going to tell you today I'm going to use paper, not fabric, brown paper, as you all know. And when making that skirt, you can use cotton fabric. You can also use a trouser length fabric. For those that knows it, you can use crepe to make it. The uniform, the uniform, you can use crepe to make it. So you're going to use one trouser length to make it, which is by 90, You can also use 1.5 yard to make it. If you're using trouser length, so 1 yard is okay. If you're using normal you can use if you're using the trouser length, it's going to be by 90. So you're going to set to work. First of all, you open up the paper, the brown paper. The only measurement required is just the person's waist. You have to take down the person's waist. Like my client's waist today, what I'm going to use is 25. Her waist is 25 inches. So this is it. I've neatly folded the paper into two, like you've seen. One is going to represent the front bodies, while one is going to represent the back. Don't forget, my zipper is going to be by the side. So I'm going to open it up now. Sorry, you also need the length as well. When you measure out the length, here we have 19. Assuming the length of our client is, depending on what you want to use, I don't know for yours, and then assuming the length is 17, you can add additional 2 inches allowance to make it 19. But don't forget, our distance is here. We're going to take our band too. So first of all, we're going to cut out the band first. I'll cut out a band of 4 inches. 4 inches. To be for my band. Just try to connect, use ruler to connect the lines and make it neat. 4 inches. You can, depending on how you want your band to be, if you want it like highway, it's very big band, you can also add more than 4. You can take more than 4 and decide to use like 5 or 6 inches. So I'm going to take 4. I'm going to cut it out. Cutting it out, you see, like my pan. I'm going to open up my fabric. Like I said, to separate, divide it into 2 equal parts. Then you fold it again into 4. All what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tap the center so that I will know what I'm going to do. Make sure you notch the center in the front and the back, so I can know where to start from. Yes, I think we have it. So I'm going to start by folding one after the other. So now take the second one. So this is the first one that we have here. We've notched our center, as you can see. I'm going to illustrate the one I showed you, the picture I showed you, the skirt I showed you there. It has a 3 pleats, but in this case I'm going to illustrate with 2 pleats. So it's your own desire if you want it 4, 5 or whatever, 2 pleated, but this 3 pleated. But today I'm going to be illustrating on how to make 2 pleated. You can use that idea to create others. Then aside from that too, you know, we have all round pleats too. Now the first box, as you can see here in the front, of how you have this first box we have here in front, the first here, like this first box here, before you now have all these pleats following it. This first box, you have it by, you determine it by just measuring the person's nipple to nipple point. That is that to that. Is that to that that you're going to use. For this, the full length, like I said, was 17, and then with the bending allowance 19. So I'm okay. I won't touch anything in the length. Now the breast to breast point of my client is 7, which is 3.5. So I'm going to start the work. You start from the middle by measuring it. You mark your 3.5 in your right hand side, then turn to the left and still mark out the same 3.5 inches. Most school students use this. Please make sure your pin is loose. You lift it up from where you mark the tap, then you fold it in to create your face pleat, which is that box that you've seen. This is what you have. Make sure you use your pin to hold it firm and make sure they are erect, they are on a straight line, so that one side will not be bigger than one side. Then you still fold it on this other side to place. Then you use your tape to confirm if it's actually 7 inches, like what it lines with your so we check. You can see here we have 7 inches here for the up. Then you confirm if the down too is 7. We have also 7 here. So push it out so that you can have the actual feel, because the front and the back are supposed to be the same. If it stresses you so much, you can also tap the center, get the center here, then mark the 3.5 right side, 3.5 left side, so you could have this. Like I said, use your pin to hold it firm. Put it down and hold it firm. Then you now mark out your 3.5 again. Don't forget we're working with 3.5. This is the 3.5. Mark. Still keep it here, like I said. Mark it out. 3.5. Then you still push it in. You have your pleats. This time you're going to fold it in such a way that it stops in your previous 3.5. You're not going to push the second one in, so that you fold it in such a way that it stops in your second 3.5. The 3.5 you marked out is what you have. I think you're likely to have 1.5 quarter here. I've said it already. 1 quarter. And it's like 1.5 quarter here. You can see if you pin it down. Also pin this side down. You also do same to the other side. When you're done with the left hand side, you do same to the right hand. 3.5 and then 3.5. Make sure it stops where you have your second. Alright. In this case, like I said, there's no dart. It's tabless. The only thing you have is bar beside. So you map since we need this thing, the waist of my client, like I said, since it's 25, that's what we want. So I think here 13 is enough for the front. We can also do measure, repeat this same thing for the behind, so that we can have 13 in front, 13 behind. The extra half, or sorry, maybe 13 and a half, the extra 1 inch there is going to save us what? The joining of the seam allowance and then the putting of the zip. So we're going to measure out at most, we're supposed to have 26 and a half. That's what we have here. Make sure what you have here is the same thing with what you have here. So I'm going to cut this excess part out so it won't cause confusion. I have excess. Make sure what is left here is almost the same thing that is left here. Like I said, I need 13 half. It's still close, but not quite close. 13 half. Okay, we can leave it here. 13 half. So I'm going to repeat the same procedure for the back too. This for the front piece. I'm going to do the same thing for the back. Then when I'm done, we're going to join the sides. Since this thing is going to be by the side, the zipper, we're going to close one side, then put the zipper from we can decide to put it from the band. If you wish, you can fix the band first before putting the zipper, or you can put the zipper first, like what I did here. I put the zipper first before the band, so before we put the hook and hike. So you can measure out, mark out the zip, which is 7 from the waist down here, 7. So that's where you put your zip and stop. Then close the rest, close here too, and you put round it with your. Okay, let me carry out the procedures for the second one, then I'll show you the finish. Now have the two ready, one for the back bodies and the other for the front. Now have the two ready for the front, one for the front bodies and the other for the back bodies, as you can see. So what you have to do is just to close the sides, like I said. Close the side, then this other side you close it, then you open up the zipper allowance. You close here and stop here where you have the zipper allowance, then you put your zip here. Then your already made band, cut out band that you had, you're going to fold it into two, like this way you've seen me do. Fold the 4 inches band into two. As you can see, it's longer than this thing, your own skirt itself. So anyone that is left, you cut it out, but make sure you start from the back here. After you might have finished joining it, you leave an opening, you fix your zip, leave an opening here alone. So you're going to start from the back, turn the band till the front. This is what it will look like. Sorry, since I'm not using fabric, but I've shown you the illustration in fabric, this is how it will look like. You put it, then you fix it this way. You fix one side here first, sew it behind, then turn the other to match it so that you can have a neat job. Turn the other to match it like this. And please, sorry, I didn't tell you, you have to, what you have for the front supposed to be the same too for the back. If you're having 13 here for the front, the back too is supposed to be 13 and a half too. So you could have even this thing. This is where you prepare your band and fix it all around. Is it? You can decide to apply gum stay or hair stay or cloth gum, you use it to iron with the band first to make it firm before fixing it. So that's all we have for the video. Like I said, please don't fail to subscribe. You can see the skirt again, once again. Like I said, mine is two pleated. Well, this what I'm showing you now, a piece example is the 3 1 2 3. You have 3 layers, 1 2 3, but here it's only 2 1 2, like you've seen. Don't fail also to press your iron. You have to iron it first before removing the paint. When you're done, bend the edges and make it neat. That's all we have. Please don't fail to subscribe. At the skirt again, well knitted. And see how it looks. Most people use like uniform for church, choir, or for school students. So that's it. All for the pleated skirt. Thank you. Don't fail to subscribe.